Hey guys, my name is Grant Abbott. I'm an elected councillor out here in Musgrave, Harbour, Newfoundland. Come out and check out our marvelous beaches when you get a chance sometime this summer. Um, Things aren't always as bad as they seem to be. That tends to be the case for most scenarios that are uninvestigated or undiscovered, or just when you get a chance to make assumptions about people. Um, a lot of things have gone uh, bad for me here in this community since I've moved back from Ontario with my family. We'll try to get into that a little later, but it's cost me a lot of money, cost me my reputation, my family's reputation. It's going to cause issues for many generations to come uh, for my children. They'll feel this, remember this, and pass off the trauma to their children. I'm sure. I hope not to curse them with those words, but it's just something that we need to take into consideration when we try to understand what's gone down here in this town. In the beginning, I had been saying to everybody that there's just a big mistake. There's something wrong here. It's not exactly as being perceived, and let's take a step back and try to understand this. Let's get together. All my words were community related. All my actions were ways to help the community become stronger and to grow and to have some cohesiveness. It's happened in a roundabout way, through the hate that the community has put towards me and my family. They've come together in that hate, and they've become stronger in that unity, and that's fine. When I came to terms with that a while ago, I said, well, at least when you get to the other side, I'll be there with you to be part of that unity once you understand what has gone wrong, and once people own up for their responsibilities, and there's an investigation. We become responsible. We talk about things the way that we're supposed to, but it's never happened, and it's gotten worse. I'm a covert stutterer. It may not seem it. I seem to be quite fluent in the way I talk, but I say more words than are necessary to explain myself than most people need to use to explain. This is because I'm always grasping for the best way to the next word to explain myself, and sometimes I get caught up in the stutter because I thought I was stuttering when I was growing up because I couldn't find the word, or I get hooked up in the conversation, and I stammer. But after I was diagnosed later, it turned out to be a aphasia type situation where I have trouble with nouns and verbs and trying to pull those words out of the air on demand. So I could get a little bit annoying, and that was recognized in an HR investigation that was carried out against me when I first started at the council, and which later found that I was absolutely not responsible in any way, shape, or form, even though the investigator thought that there must be some sort of responsibility that I had. But he actually found other people were responsible for what had happened, for the issues that happened at the town council, and to us following that. But all of this, even right from the beginning, was a reputation challenge for me. We might as well start way back in the beginning. When I was saying I'm a stutterer, is that this is going to take a little while. I may not nail things on the head as well as I should. Trying to speak on Facebook, for instance, is difficult because there's just so much that needs to be said, and so much that could be said in response to things, and then when things are off center or not correct and it needs to be corrected, then there's a little bit of push and shove about what exactly is the truth of that situation and what exactly is meant. But I've never been afforded the opportunity to have conversations, valued conversations, or to get information as you'd figure that things would be able to happen in a respectable workplace where you'd ask for something and that information would be available, and you'd challenge something and the challenge would be accepted, and you'd work through the problem, and you find a solution to the problem, and you grow with it, and you come better on the other side. That's a lot of the work that I've done over the past 25 years in my sales, customer service, and technical support type jobs that I've fulfilled, which I've done really well. Because of the brain damage that I have, I hurt the side of my brain that controlled normal speech. So I compensate it with it by speaking from the singing part of my brain, which comes from preparation of what I need to say. So it's sort of like a song and dance to a certain extent, in that I sort of said it before. You've heard it before. It's a similar phrase. A lot of people have saying I'm saying the exact same thing over and over again. Well, I am, because the truth doesn't change. Truth stays the same. Only lies have variations. So it's easy to keep the truth. But I say the same thing because I've already practiced it to a certain extent. I think the shit out of things. So that makes it so that I pretty well have all the answers before the answers are even asked to me. That's not because I think I'm cocky. It's just that I just think the crap out of things because I anticipate issues that could happen, and I try to solve the problems. And this is what I've been paid for over the past 25 years, and paid well for it. And it's just that when I took these skills and these ideas and these concepts to the town council, it was received poorly. Whether it's professionalism, whether it's understanding of what the project is, whether it's ill intent of bad feelings of not wanting to see these projects come to fruition, maybe even not wanting to let me rise up to the respect of that I'm capable of performing through the experiences that I've had to bring the ideas to the table. Maybe just jealousy or negative feelings in that regards. That's the only thing that I can figure as of this point that could be. Like I said, I thought that in the beginning there was mistaken, and there was ways to change and ways to grow and ways to find out that you've made mistakes, and to talk things through, and to apologize for things that you've done and own up for responsibilities. But it never worked out that way for me. I guess the best thing for me to do is to start off in the beginning. Before I came back from Ontario during COVID, I was thinking through two business ideas. I guess I can't really call them business ideas. Like, one is a business, one is runs through a charitable concept, which I call my money engine. It's like an economic development association type situation. The first idea was a altruistic farm that the concept was to have it sizable. It can be used anywhere in northern Canada, places where it's cold, places where they can't grow in the ground, and that you can size it up and down and share the idea, share the concept, sort of a co-op, so that you can feed the island, feed the area, feed people, feed the country, and to do this in a internal in-house grow house type situation where you grow food and you grow herbs and that kind of thing. And then there was a 100% covered by charity community garden. Now, the idea behind that was to come to the town, figure out who can be a donee, take the money from charity, and to take to build the idea, which I already had done, and to make it so that you just need to turn the key, basically, get all the stuff, put it together. Whether we do that ourselves as a community or whether it's done by contractor, that's a different question depending on the budget. But I thought it from start to finish. The idea was to get the community together, to have them share information, to tell stories together, to learn things from each other about how to grow, and to have a place that can have food security for the community. When I brought this idea to the town council, it was a previous town council to the one that I was elected on. The town clerk, who I understand now at this point is the only point of access to the town that the community has to process the information, and it's a lot of responsibility on these town clerks' shoulders, and a lot of them aren't qualified for the high level stuff that's been laid on their shoulders over the past years. Talking to municipalities, Newfoundland, and I understand that it's a problem across the province, that there's a lot of responsibilities put on these administrators, and there's too much that they need to do without the guidance of the town council themselves, because technically the town council is not supposed to get into the day-to-day operations of the town. Technically, you're not supposed to go out and talk to the workers. You have to, you need to, but you're not really supposed to. We were warned to do that, not to do that in the beginning, because you don't want to have too many bosses, as they say, right? Because you can't have two masters. If someone has one intention for you, you need to follow those intentions. And with the town clerks, everything falls on their shoulders. They need to be able to interpret all the policies and procedures, deal with the public, whether there was a stressful or whether that's positive, collaborate the information, create policy procedures based on the orders of council. The list goes on, but and then interpret the information and provide advice to the town council so that the town council can make decisions based on the advice of the town clerk. Now, I've learned this all through the 3 months that I've actually been in. Well, 3 months first time, and then another month or two. I think 2 months afterwards, since I've actually been in town council. And the rest of the time, I've been outside or listening in meetings that I've been recording online. But this is what I've gathered, and I've also gathered that the town council has no accountability to anybody except for the election process, the legal process, and the legislation that comes down from municipal affairs. Now, this is where it gets edgy, because municipal affairs is not supposed to offer legal advice to the town, or nor are they supposed to offer legal advice to the town councillor. So, in the situation with me, the town would reach out to the municipal affairs, ask them what they think, because they don't have anyone to ask for advice except for municipal affairs. The municipal affairs are supposed to not really give them any particular advice. They're supposed to just point at the legislation and say, look, you're able to do this. If you want to do this, you can do this. And in this situation, when the push came to the shove and your town council members had to figure out what to do with me and the result of what's been going on with me, they decided to take all of the availability of the legislation and whatever municipal affairs had to offer and go ahead and do it. And that's sort of what I think has happened here with this with this controller, them applying the water and sewer tax onto us. There has to be a vote of council. So even though the council didn't really approve per se, I can't really see the controller doing that without the approval of council. The council themselves actually said that they still have control of the town, that the municipal affairs can't do anything without the permission of the town council. So what they said in the last meeting, that they don't have any control over the situation, is questionable for me. Now, the thing that the problem with what's going on recently about people with issues with how information could be correct or not correct, and whether I should figure out good information before I'm able to talk about it. Well, I've never been able to speak properly throughout any of the 3 months that I've been back in town council, in the room, and everything else afterwards was just aggression. Everything was aggression in the beginning, really, if you were to take a look at it. But all of the recordings that in the first 3 months I've been there, I swear to God, if you are able to take a look at those 3 months of recordings, and you are able to say, wow, Grant, you were such an arsehole. You didn't really respect anybody's time. You didn't really respect anybody speaking to you. You talked on top of them. You were rude and stuff like that. If that was something that was true, then I would totally agree why people are feeling ill about me. Because, if you're an asshole, you should be treated like an asshole, really. Your attitude needs to be corrected. And that is the avenue that I'm coming from, is that I've gone through all of this, and the people involved with this have treated me as if they were assholes. They claim that they have been giving me the right of way and giving me the space and stuff, but none of this attitude that they have been expressing in any of the meetings towards me. There's been a couple of good meetings, a couple of good conversations, don't get me wrong. But generally, 89%, 90% of the conversations that I've been involved in has been not letting me speak, trying to figure out ways to limit my conversation, making motions specifically to make, me not be able to bring too many things to the table all at once. In the beginning, making a rule that I can't come to a meeting in person or online if I was unvaccinated, but I'll digress on that. Just to circle back and say, there's no accountability to these individuals, to anybody. Like I said, the legal process, the voting process, municipal affairs legislation, and public opinion. That is really all they have to answer to, and themselves, which I was at the time. I was part of the council, and as the ruling from the HR investigator said, and the information from the judge said, this was done very poorly towards me. It's easy to see that there was that the legislation has been weaponized, which is what the lawyers had said, and it's easy to see that they have done things that they fully should have known that were incorrect towards me when they had done different actions towards other people, such as the previous mayor. For instance, offering me 3 months leave to get me through the point of time on the other side to get through COVID, so I don't have to get vaccination, and I can. There's no more vax passes anymore, and I can participate again. They decided to keep that in place and make sure that I wasn't able to participate online. But I'll digress. They have nobody to answer to. So when I came into this election process to fight against the negative attitude that was brought up towards me before I became a councillor, I came in for accountability, transparency, municipal reform, and community development. I was elected. For some people fight the number, but from 49, 50%, 45%, doesn't really matter. It's still a high number of electeds. It's a lot of people who are elected without any votes here in Newfoundland. Acclamation, they call it. So I was voted. There was people in this community that wanted me to do these things that I said I was going to do. So, what did these people expect when I came into council and I actually acted the way that I said I was going to act, professionally, logically, calm, except for when I was fighting back against people being aggressive against me. But this is the way I'd like to talk. This is the way, anybody who knows me, I'm a calm person, but I don't take shit either. I call a spade, but I call a spade because I think things through. But I'm also very tolerant, and I'm very, I give people excuses, a lot of excuses. If anybody knows me, I have difficulty making decisions sometimes because I'm worried about what other people think and what other people want to put into the conversation. But I also come into this conversation with confidence that this is the way that it is as far as I know it. But if you can tell me different and you can educate me and let me know what you think, and I'll take your opinion into consideration, but I'll still stand up strong if I don't believe your opinion is good enough, and I'll tell you that. I'll be respectful about it. I won't be aggressive or put you down, and especially being instigating, saying stuff out of nowhere just to push your buttons. Things now may have been interpreted that way since all of this has come undone, that I might have been pushing the envelope in different situations, or I may have said things incorrect, being lacking the right information, because as I said, the town council has blocked me from receiving information. Even back before I was elected, I have an email from Sandy Hounslow, Municipal Affairs. They advised the town that they don't have to answer to any of the emails that I send in. This was when I was a citizen. They can do whatever they think is best for them to do for the town, for their operations. If you're busy and you can't have enough time to talk to them, don't talk to them. And they basically have been treating me the same way since I've become town councillor. I've since done access to information requests for basic information. I had to do an access to information request for my T4 last year because they wouldn't respond to my emails and let me know when I was going to get my T4. It was after the deadline before I even got my T4. So, and to talk about that for a second, the cost of these access to information requests is very similar to the cost of being able to provide the information to me to begin with. And if these things never happened, we wouldn't have the access to information requests and the extra information that had to be provided, because this situation wouldn't have existed. But a conversation, a live conversation, is much better than a video to a community that doesn't necessarily come out and have a conversation with me. I've been ostracized, and my family's been ostracized too a lot. My kids have been bullied. There's 7 and 12-year-olds bullying my 6-year-olds when they went to the playground the other day. It's because they're saying negative things in their home, and they're aware of who we are, and these strangers who don't go out and interact with the community because why? Are they strange, or is it because from the beginning they were treated poorly? like I said, there's lots to say. Having a live conversation would be much better than talking into a camera. It takes a lot of effort to do the things that I've been doing, whether it's explaining myself on camera, whether it's typing some information on the internet, which is very difficult to get ideas across, or whether it's having conversations with people on the telephone, or what else have I done, or whether I'm thinking things through or processing the information that I've gotten, because you got to, once I'm done this video, I've got to edit things out, or I've got to render it, as they say, and that takes time. Then I got to post it and probably do, for instance, with meetings and such, I do transcribing now with AI and such, but all this takes time, a lot of effort, and for someone to look at me and say that I've offered nothing and done nothing, why have you done all these things? It's because it's my reputation on the line. It's my family's reputation on the line, and I've done nothing wrong. I'm the type of person that follows the rules. I follow regulation. I put things into my brain in a certain way. I'm a logical person. I process information, and I come out the other side with a way that it should go down. And if other people aren't doing those things, either I need to do the things that are wrong and change my ways to be wrong, or I need the other people to change to be right. Now, whether I'm a stickler is a different question. Whether or not I should break the rules, I do break some rules. I'm not perfect now, mind you, but whether or not that doesn't really matter. The things that's expected is that you do the right thing, and I'm that type of person, is to try to do the right thing. But I do make mistakes, and I'm not a perfect person either, right? But generally, I try to keep the peace, do what's right, and to do what's right for me and do what's right for other people. I like standing up for other people as well, which is why I opened up this advocate page. And by having conversations in real life with the people involved with this situation, we would have solutions by now, because we would have had conversations. We would have debated things out like you'd expect people to do, but it never happened. People might expect it to have been happening. People are giving me advice about how to rectify the situation, how to interface with the town, how to get asked the right questions and such. And they're assuming that I'm doing something wrong, but it's hard to swallow. But I'm not. Like I said, even the HR investigator said he thought that I must have done something wrong. But on the other end, he found out I did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing. I'm an odd person, but I'm a good person as well, and I've done nothing wrong throughout this whole experience. I've pushed back. When you push back, some people might fall down. I'm sorry if I've hurt anybody, and I'm sure that the emotions that people are out there that some people are feeling towards me, thinking that I've done things to them or I'm doing things to the community, are true, and they're felt that way. But they've never met me. They don't know me, and I've never been given the opportunity to explain myself or to have a conversation as one would expect you to have in a respectful way, like I've done in all my businesses, all my career, and I've been successful in doing so. But if you had the opportunity to sit down, discuss things with me, and do things dynamically, we better get to the point, get to what your concerns are. We'd be able to talk those concerns through. You'd be able to understand my point of view. You'd be able to accept it or refuse it, and you'd be able to decide who I am and what has happened based on what your concerns are. But I haven't been given that opportunity. Like I said, I don't think I finished my thought completely a little while ago. If you were to look at those videos, listen to those audios during the first 3 months of me being in town council, and you were to believe that they treated me good and I treated them poorly, then you have a very poor outlook on life, and a very negative perception, because I definitely was treated poorly. And there's lots of people out there who have listened to these audios and who have told me that it is atrocity how these people have been acting. But they had manipulated things into how things are. They didn't want to take responsibility for their actions, and they doubled down on it because they didn't want to. They didn't want to own up to it. And then somebody spent all this money on legal fees, and we don't know who did. or how much it is. You know, it's close to $50,000 or more if you calculate it up. But they're being fishy with that information too, and not letting you know. But I digress. Let's see if we can do this. This dynamic conversation, like I said, is better in person because we can keep on track, right? So if I were to go back to when we first came down, I interfaced with the town to bring this concept to the old council. And when I went in, you know, the idea of not knowing what the other party wanted to do was on the table. So when I was talking to them, I was presenting what they can do or what they don't have to do or what they could do. But the idea was that the project was 100% covered by charity. There was some talk about potential of them spending some money or taking ownership of the property, because down the road, you know, after the project's done, who's going to take ownership of it? We were talking about who that would be, whether it be the Lions Club, whether it would be the town, or whether it would be a charity that would be set up to continuously take care of that thing. But this was all in one meeting, and I think it was too much for the clerk to understand of what exactly was being offered, because soon after they were talking on the internet and talking to people, talking how I was not taking no for an answer, and how I wanted to do something that the town didn't want to do, and I was bothering them, taking up their time, and then they said that I'm causing them stress, and then I became the straw that broke the camel's back. They had a breakdown on the internet. They posted how if they voted for me, it would be throwing away their vote, and that it would be a terrible idea and terrible thing for the community. And the town at that time, they let this communication go. They let it on their, I'm not sure if it was on their own website or if it was on the clerk's own page, but you know, the first thing there is that the clerk shouldn't be doing those kinds of things. The town manager shouldn't be doing those kinds of things. They were referring to me. But there were other people also in this community at the time who were multiple straws on the camel's back. As I said, it's very difficult to be a town clerk, town manager, running the entire $1 million operation all by yourself with the town council at a distance. And municipal affairs breathing down your neck and giving you opinions, but not legal opinions, just general advice from afar. You know, they've caused this problems too, and we'll get to that if you're still listening and still paying attention. If you really want to know, you know, this is the kind of conversation that you should be interested in. I've invited some people over to have a conversation with me, some of the aggressors or some of the people who have been, you know, passionate about talking to me and telling me how I should do things different than I've been doing it, but they're not willing to come over and have a conversation and sit down and understand things properly, understand the truth of things. That treat me like a human, right? That have this sort of conversation, this sort of back and forth, the understanding, the compassion, the empathy, you know, and the interest to understand things fully before they're able to offer their opinion or form a judgment towards somebody. But you know, the information was not understood. The contractors that I was doing other things too, like I was interested in securing Big Brook Cemetery. Big Brook Cemetery is a place where there are people who grew up here in this town, who died about 100 years ago, who were buried down in Big Brook. Big Brook was a part of the town at one point in time. That hill was blown up by sand. There was a fence going through it, and the sand blew up onto it and blew over the sand. But in the hill, in the bottom part of the hill, over to the side, and also over to the far side, let's say over to the east of Big Brook, there's actually a burial space right there, and there's ATV tracks that are going around the grave. It's at risk of erosion. The town is aware of this. I brought this up, you know, many times, and I've had people go down with me and take a look, and I've proven this, that family members have gone down and taken a look at this and pointed out where the graveyards are. I know where the graveyards are, or the graves themselves are, and how far it's covered. I've actually got what is it called? Crown Lands aware of where the space is, but the town themselves need to be able to do something to secure this grave that's over to the side, to let people know that this is a graveyard and it needs to be protected and no bonfires being burnt on it. You know, I had contractors contacting the town trying to get information about how we're going to clean up Big Brook, and the town was saying, well, we're not this was before I was a councillor, we're not associated with this project. We don't know anything about it, and they didn't. And basically, when I tried to communicate with the individuals afterwards, they were saying, "Well, the town doesn't know anything about this. They're not interested, so we're not interested in doing anything with the project." Well, just because they're not communicating with me and helping me go through the project, but there were people in the community that were interested in doing this, and I was initiating to do this because it's something that needs to be done. My enthusiasm about the project has nothing to do about whether or not I should be not taking no for an answer. I wanted to make sure they understood what the community garden was about, and it was not understood. And when I was trying to, it was during COVID, we weren't allowed to come in person. It was we were locked out again at that time. That was previous to my event of being locked out, and the and I couldn't come in person to do it. They never invited me. Got on the telephone to have a conversation with them, and the idea went flop. Now, I also had an idea about getting a business in there too. I think I presented that at the time. I'm not sure. I believe so. If not, it was a later. I think it was at the same time I presented that idea too, because I wanted to make sure that the town was aware of what I was trying to do. And I think it was because I was. No, I can't remember if I was involved with council at the time or not when I presented that, because where I was out of council and in council at the same time. I was in council at that time when I presented my other idea down the road about the community, about the business farm. But the community garden was not understood, and it was at that time when I decided that I was going to run for council, because we had this advocate page. People were giving me a hard time for speaking up and having to say things about the council during these times. The water was having water problems, and I was a community member speaking up about the water issues, and I was challenged at the time. Well, if you have an issue with the town council, why don't you run for council? So I said I will. I did, and I took the offer, and that's when the town clerk made that statement about not voting for me, and then I got voted in, like I said, and we began the. So at that time, my reputation was at risk, but I figured I get an opportunity to prove who I was in town council, because I've been professional throughout my career, and I figured here's a good opportunity for me to be professional on a board and to show people who I am, like I have in many times throughout my career. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Two people were on the town council that I've been told by many people who they believe were put there or decided to get on there for the sole purpose of opposing me, the sole purpose of causing me issues and causing me strife. And they damn well did as well before they left. And they stood down later on after being part of a petition and what's the word? Can't find the word right. I tell you I have trouble with words. This is it. And this is why I make mistakes sometimes, because I have trouble with word. It's not a strike, but it's having an event outside the door to say that I was terrorizing the community. Whatever the word is, I will go for it. I'm sure you're screaming at me if you're still listening. But this is the type of person I am. I have trouble communicating, and I ramble on sometimes. But this is a superpower in some ways. You just need to understand me and be compassionate, right? As I am for other people. So during the first month of being on town council, we were brought on. It was okay. Things were jovial. Things were fine. There was no vaccination mandates at the time, and it was in November of 2022, I believe, if my math's right. It's all a blur for me. Yeah, 2022, I believe. Yeah, and we first had a parks meeting. No, go back. We had some town meetings. We were talking about what to do with the town. I was told during those meetings that, I spoke too much. My ideas weren't welcomed in the room, that I didn't have the ability to bring things to the table unless it was something that went through a committee. So unless I was part of a committee and things happened on those committees, I couldn't talk about anything unless I was part of those committees. That was bullshit to me. I coming in here with ideas of what things to do to make to make the town better and to bring the community together. And I was making sure that we were going to do things the way that enthusiastic, collaborative people would do it. You brainstorm, you figure stuff out, and you do things. I've seen evidence of them doing that kind of stuff since I've been gone. I laugh at it in certain ways because, this is the way that I want it to operate. If anybody listening to these audios, you can tell whenever I'm in the mix, there's aggression, there's yelling, there's trying to tell me to stop. There's many people talking on top of each other. And when I'm out of the mix, everything's calm, collected. Everyone's taking turns. Everyone's all jovial. Everyone's all happy. What's going on here? It's obviously got something to do with me. But what's it got to do with me? What have I done wrong? That's the purpose of today's video. I've been going on for 2 years trying to fix this, going through different processes to try to fix it, and I've never been able to make it happen. During the beginning, I thought it was a mistake, and it's just, people just double down, keep going, and it's just gotten worse. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to run away with my tail between my legs. I can't go anywhere. I'm either going to fight or flight, so I can't flight, so I'm damn well going to fight. Why did I come here? Some people are treating me like I'm coming here doing something, or I'm a threat to the community, or I'm causing some issues or something. But I'm not. What have I actually done exactly? Nobody actually knows. Nobody's actually been able to say. Maybe some feelings have been hurt. Maybe some people don't think that. That my opinion is right, even though it is, and they, or maybe they have created rules and policies and procedures, and they have opinions that are absolutely wrong, but are not willing to hear or debate the situation to understand how they're wrong. But that's what good people do. That's what businesses do. That's what productive people do. That's what you people in the community who entrust us as town councillors expect us to do. You don't expect us to be assholes to each other. You expect us to be communicators. You expect us to be building. You expect us to be working together, collaborative, not wasting people's money, not being assholes to each other. This wouldn't, the type of experience that I had would never work in a business place in Canada. Never. So, but they've made it out as if I have been the aggressor. But the HR investigation said that I'd done absolutely nothing, even though they thought I did something wrong. So you out there need to hold some sort of doubt that if the HR investigator, which was the nucleus of this problem, says that I was not responsible whatsoever, then what exactly happened since that? Who is the person hurt? Who is the person having problems? Well, it's me and my family. Even before I was an investigator, the town clerk's husband came to my property. He aggressed at me. He was yelling at me, scared my kids, scared my wife, scared my wife's mom. We moved to Newfoundland. We packed everything into our car. We traveled during COVID, during 2021, I believe it was, or 2020, I can't remember. I think it's 2021. Like I said, it's a blur for me. I have trouble in the moment, and in the moment, it's not really important. The story is what's important, and what's right and what's wrong is what's important. I can be corrected, and that's the way I expect people to I give to people, and I expect people to treat me the same way. But Grandma had to leave. All of her belongings, everything that she brought, she had to leave it behind and get back on a plane, go back to Toronto after moving here to this town. My wife thought that this was a hallmark town, a spot that everyone was so nice and sweet and understanding and great, and you can go and knock on people's door and go get some milk. You kind of can, but what has happened? Well, someone has perverted your opinion of me and what you think of me, because I haven't been able to have an opportunity to have a conversation at the table. The things that I was elected for, I've been maliciously ejected, and no one's apologized to me. No one's taken responsibility for their actions. I was elected for accountability and transparency. People are throwing that at me as if they're doing transparency and accountability because they want to, but it's because I'm making them do the accountability and transparency. I'm asking the questions, but I'm not invited at the table, so I'm not able to ask the questions directly to people. I'm only able to ask questions through access to information requests, and that's it. So, or through Facebook indirectly. So when I am as a human, as a person who could be mistaken, or a person who's not choosing the right words, have an understanding or an opinion that can be changed between post to post. I made one post one day, and then later on that day I changed, found out something, and I found out that I was wrong, but I continued. I left the first post there because it's a history of conversation, it's a history of opinion, and my opinion changed. So we move on, and that's really where we should be. And we learn that as humans, and we learn that through daily interactions. But again, I haven't been afforded the opportunity for daily interactions, especially with the town. We'll go back again, during the first month, there was, let's see, there was interest in different things. I had different ideas, and I was told that I shouldn't be communicating with anybody outside of the town in the government. So I was given the heritage and parks titles, and I was calling people who were parks and heritage type people to try to meet them and figure out what they're all about. And I was told that I must be a delegate of the town in order to call these people and to interact with them, because unless I'm a delegate, then I'm not authorized to do so. And I had a problem with that too, because what does that mean? Why would I be limited based on the councils? I have to get permission from the council to learn how to do my job and to get the scope of the land. Like, that doesn't make sense. As a salesperson, as customer service, as a person who takes the bull by the balls, I was wanting to go and meet these people and figure out what's possible, but I was told I can't do that. And I objected to that. I said, I don't believe that's true, and I'm going to learn and figure out stuff. And I continued to do that. So we had a parks meeting, and during the parks meeting, I had mentioned that I had learned things. I contacted. No, that's not true. It was actually a message, but I'll revert to that. During that meeting, I learned things about what the park wanted, and we all had ideas, and we brainstormed, and things went well as far as I'm concerned. There was aggression from the fellow councillor that was also in the parks community, but that again, that person was put there for the sole purpose of being aggressive towards me, and she did a really good job in doing that on many occasions. And again, you can see those you can listen to that in the audios, and if you can listen to those audios and think that she was all sweet and roses, and I was an asshole, then you're an asshole yourself, and I don't appreciate your opinion, which is the point I was trying to get through a little earlier. If you really think that I'm an aggressor, as opposed to just standing up for my rights, then you're an asshole yourself, and your opinion doesn't matter. So by you telling me things and having opinion and thinking I should be different, it doesn't resonate with me, because I'm doing what's right and what's good. There's a lot of people who are privately having a conversation with me and telling me, agreeing with my ethics, agreeing with my morals, agreeing with my standards, but they don't want to deal with all this bullying and all this negativity. There's been people who've been told to stop supporting me because, what are you doing supporting him, because he's causing issues to the town. What are we going to do? That's the reason why the town, why I'm in this situation, really. Even though I've got great people who are great supporters, they're not supporting me outwardly, and then the people who are aggressors think that they are right because I'm not getting any support publicly, and then they continue to roll. It's like a vacuum chamber, you know what I mean? They continue to roll that together and make that a reality, and then combined with that the Musgrave Harbour hate site operated by Franco Cazzola, and the other Musgrave Harbour hate site that I believe I know who operates that one as well. But she's been causing a lot of crap towards me as well. These people have stirred up additional trouble and additional hate by collecting information, or making comments, or creating realities that are not even true. Like I said, even before all this happened, if I were to go back, I was told that back before I was elected, before the hate sites and stuff, that I was planning on putting a community garden on top of the graveyard. When I said that I was interested in the space across the town, across Regard River, but hey, there's a spot over there called Pinsent. I think it's supposed to be a town, but was there ever a town over there? Somebody said, what are you planning on doing? Putting a community garden over there? Sure, it's jokes and stuff, but this was all part of the aggression that was being stirred up by in the beginning, even before I was even engaged with the town, as a counselor. But it got even worse as things progressed, because when things happened at the town, opinions were formed by the town. Opinions were built by these supporters of the town, which are generally 3 degrees of separation from people who are actually associated with the town. And generally, most people who are concerned with me the most strongly are generally 3 degrees of separation from people directly associated with the town. Whether they're, when I say 3 degrees of separation, meaning, like you've got your counselor or your worker or whatever, and then you've got people who are not directly close, or maybe even 2 degrees too, but 3 degrees as well away. They're not people who are uninterested people generally, until the hate site came around. Then that's what made a lot of people come together in unity. Good, woo, way to go. I'm happy for that. I was hoping I'd get in unity. I hope I'm doing it with the community garden. But if, like I say, if you want to come together and hate me, hopefully we can get through on the other side with truth, and you can get over that. Find out who I am as a human. Find out that you're absolutely wrong. That I'm a great person, and my family's great as well. We all have our problems, but we try really hard, and we have the best hopes and best interests for people. So during the first month, like I said, after that parks meeting, I brought information. I collected the information that we had, pulled it together, tried to figure out what we can do with the information, the ideas, and I sourced out prices and stuff so I can get an idea of what exactly we were looking at. Just because I was really excited about what being on council and not knowing what the rules were, and just interested. But in the meantime, there was a parks committee chat group set up, and I had mentioned something about contacting somebody in parks, and the councillor basically told me off and said, the town clerk told you that you shouldn't be doing that kind of thing that you have to be contact people. And I basically said, what are you talking about? Like, you can't tell me this. You shouldn't be talking to me like this. If the town clerk wants to tell me anything, she should tell me herself. She's already told me I disagree, and this is not the right place to do this in front of everybody else. And I shared a meme that I've seen other people share since, that basically says, oh gosh, I can't remember how it goes. It goes something about, I can't remember exactly what it goes, but basically the essence of it was, I'm not going to not do something just because it's someone else's job. It's just laziness, thinking that way. So basically, I'm a meme person, and I wanted to share that as a point to say, this is the way I feel. And they took that, or at least they put the fuel into that, as being me harassing them or giving them a hard time, when in fact they were the people who had done the first blow in that conversation by saying something out of place that they should have fully known would have made me uncomfortable, and the other definitions of harassment, because making uncomfortable and being fully aware. Well, you don't have to be fully aware, but someone should have known that doing that would have been out of place, at least, over me objecting to that negative behavior. So in between then and the council meeting, this councillor put in a complaint that I was causing issues in these meetings, and this was only like meeting one, like the official first meeting. We had a meeting before to learn our groups, our committees, and then this was the official meeting that we had. One of our first meetings. I came in all excited. I wanted to share some information about what I learned during the parks meeting. No, this was the second meeting that we had, actually. That's not true. So it's the second meeting. During the first meeting, we had actually spoken in meeting about some events that were planned. Not events, sorry, but some business interests that were planned for a piece of land that was burnt. Burned house there next to the front. Someone was interested in purchasing it and doing a business on it, and the town was saying, well, we're not even sure if we can put anything on it, and being interested in after me looking around the town and knowing what pieces of land were available and what pieces of land weren't available, and because of the concept of the community garden, and being a town councillor, and the fact that the information was public as of that point, because it was spoken about in a public meeting, I had decided to reach out to that business person to let them know that that the land they were interested in was not suitable, and that if they had any interest, I've got some ideas for them to let them know what pieces of land that I had in mind for the community garden, that if they were interested, they would probably be interested in having. This was a good thing. This was meant to be helpful. And because this information was already in a public meeting, then I decided, both as a citizen and as a councillor, to on the Parks Committee and Heritage Committee, to reach out to them and just have a conversation as a citizen, really, knowing that for the community garden that these spaces were available, or what spaces were available. And then when we came to the second meeting, the information, or the councillor decided to have a complaint against me because of the way I acted, and not the way she acted, but the way I acted. And at that time, also the town clerk also decided to put in a harassment claim against me. This was only 1 month in, one meeting in. I guess it was the number of emails that I've been sending her before becoming a councillor. I guess that was the purpose. I'm not exactly sure. The HR investigator later again said they reviewed all the emails. They reviewed all the audios during the first 3 months, and they interviewed everybody, and they found that I did absolutely nothing wrong. They said that that this is what you would expect in council. This is kind of healthy difference of opinions that you'd expect to have. You can't expect everybody to agree, which most times everybody does. I'm a critic. I think things through. I have problems with things, and I want to talk things through. But I think, like was said during one of the first meetings, this is going on too long, Grant. We want to go home and watch a hockey game. They're not really interested in going above and beyond. They do what the minimum is, or at least they didn't want to do anything that I wanted to do. They just wanted to do things that they wanted to do. They wanted to get the limelight, or whatever limelight it is, or to have their ego stoked or whatever, right? But I don't have an ego, unfortunately. I have an ego, but have it under control. Some people may think I'm narcissistic or something. No, I'm empathetic. I'm a true empath. True empaths are the opposite of narcissistic, but very similar. Instead of using energy and holding it in and using it for evil, I share it. And when I walk in the room, people feel that. And that's what bothers some people, I think, because the light of an empath makes people uncomfortable, especially when the truth is spoken, or when they're challenged and they don't know what the answers are. And a lot of people have told me, Grant, you're smart, and those people were intimidated by you. I'm humble, and I make mistakes, and I don't know everything. I don't know what I don't know, but I do know what I do know. I do think I'm sharp. I do know a lot of things, but I'm not infallible. And when someone says that they're intimidated by me because I'm smart, I'm like, oh, sure, thank you. But in terms of actually internalizing it, I'm not that type of person, and that's not what an empath does. What a narcissist does. That's the opposite of what a narcissist does. And a narcissist would go, yeah, I am that kind of person. But nobody in my life can say that I am that type of person. Nobody. And the thing is that nobody in this community knows who I am. So the people who are involved with all the negative things that they've been saying about me, they haven't seen me in 25 years. They've seen me maybe passing by, or had a little small conversation with me or something like that, or waved at me or something, maybe, or saw me on Facebook and had some things to say to me on Facebook. But before I came here to this town, even the people who were aggressors were positive people towards me. It made me sad when I came here, and I found that people were so aggressive towards me. A lot of close relationships that I've had, a lot of people who are extended family, will say, have turned on me, and people who have had okay relationships with, no negative stuff, have said really mean things to me. I appreciate lots of friends. I'm the type of person that if I've ever met you, even for briefly, for a moment. I smile at you. I meet you for a second. If you're interested in me and we connect for a moment, you're a friend forever. As long as you don't do anything bad to me, or you know, you're an energy sucker or something like that, but generally, you hold a place in my heart always. So any of these people who've turned on me and said bad things to me, it hurts me a lot. And people who think that I've come to this town to cause problems, that really they don't know me. And any of these people who have looked at the situation and believe that I've done things wrong, then you're wrong. And I don't know what you're thinking. So I think that these people just don't know what the truth is. They're going by emotion, and they just think they know what's right, and they're joining the mob, which was again built by these hate sites, and the fact that the town didn't take responsibility for any of this, or try to help me get reintegrated with the town once I returned. So back to the first 3 months. So there was an HR investigation started about me. There were complaints about a union for me made about me because I went down to the park, got the keys to the park, and I saw there was a garbage can out in the pond. So I went and got that and put it up by the shack. And I what else did I do? And I looked in the Canadian Tire catalog for information for the park, because I was interested in finding out, how much it would cost to get little fire pits, because we were talked about it in the meeting, right? So how much would fire pits cost? And I got prices on that and got it together. And when I presented that in the second meeting, which these complaints were brought up against me, which I understand were brought in that day, by the way, then they and I told them these things because I mentioned in the previous meeting that I'd done the garbage can, right? And this meeting I was looking in the Sears in the Canadian Tire catalog, so that was another bad thing. Later on, I got those complaints presented to me, and what else? They were talking about the impending vaccination policies that were coming down. So basically, they said in 3 months, everybody's going to have to be fully vaccinated, and the Vax Pass may come in any time. So everybody's got to be vaccinated. There was 3 people who didn't want to get vaccinated at the time. It just so happens that 2 of those people were the people who stepped down and were aggressors towards me and holding this stand-in. I still can't remember that word, where they stood outside with petitions and stuff and said how bad I was. Someone came to my property to try to get a picture in front of the house. The cops had to come and sit in the driveway, make sure no one showed up anymore. This was right outside my window. You can see it easy from the living room window. My kids were out looking at the window. They see what was happening. But just to put things in perspective, though, I missed some of this. I've had a bullet put through my window. I've had 2 lighthouse features stolen off my lawn. I've had this aggression, like I said, happening. The town clerk's husband had a peace bond put against him because he wanted to use his hands like in old times, which the judge said that it was not honest when he said that he wanted to talk with his hands, that he actually wanted to use his hands, and there was a threat of violence. So Grandma left at that time and left everything behind. So just that value of the effort that this person put in that has nothing to do with the situation and had that loss due to whatever happened before I even got elected is terrible. It's something that good people will go, oh, no, that's terrible. What did that situation do? What happened? This was manufactured by somebody the town clerk and the town clerk's husband, really, and the council at the time who let the town clerk and the husband do what they wanted to do. I put cease and desists in, wanted to get the town council to take care of these people, make sure that they stopped doing what they were doing. I was trying to plead with them to stop doing it. I was doing so nicely. I wasn't being rude and things, just pleading with them to give it up. I gave them alternatives, what the plans were and what could happen if they continued to do this. But they no accountability was had. And then, like I said, I got elected. I objected to the Vax Pass concept. They knew full well that I was going to not get vaccinated. The other 2 people said they weren't going to get vaccinated either. One person said that if they died, they're going to come back and haunt them. if they got vaccinated. The other person had to get vaccinated because they wanted to hang out with people during their lunch break. No point for me getting the details what exactly that was, because that's the type of person I am. I don't want to spill names or speak of particulars. I want this to get behind me. If you're good people, you should better get this shit behind you. But if you're not, then you're going to continue to be aggressors, and then you're going to continue to have me oppose your aggression. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here in this town. I'm stuck. You're going to get me fighting, and I'm here for the long run. So unless you take responsibility for your actions, I'm going to the bitter end, my friend, to the bitter, bitter end. I can promise you. And for much more reasons than what I can squeeze into this little video. This is 2 years worth of issues with a guy who's got a word disability, but does quite well. Who's trying to squeeze this all into a entertaining video to some extent, and comprehensible, coherent, I guess what the word would be. So they decided that they were going to get vaccination. They're going to have the remote attendance policy. They didn't have one before. They needed one. The municipal affairs said they needed one, so they decided to get one. I was involved with municipal affairs before that because I was trying to get communication going. I was trying to make sure I was able to get information from the town, and I was communicating with municipal affairs, wasn't getting proper answers because later I found out, like I said, they don't answer to anybody except for themselves, and they had no advice to offer me. It was not offer me. It's not part of their mandate. So by the time I got into council, I'm sure municipal affairs knew that I was going to be trouble and was advising them accordingly about ways that they can get rid of me, or the fact that I was doing things wrong, or things they can do to take care of me. All this added up to the stress of what, like I said, the straw that broke the camel's back. Again, there's other people causing issues, but because I came on and I had other emails and I was right, and they needed to act and they needed to provide me information, that caused the breakdown. But so they were told by municipal affairs that they needed to create a remote attendance policy. The remote attendance policy consisted of reasons that they could or could not have a councillor can or cannot attend remotely. One of them was that they added there, they said if you're not vaccinated, you can't attend remotely. Now, what that was, the reason why that is, we don't know. I sort of do, and I'd like to propose that this is the reason why, because it was said to me that this was the reason why by the mayor and other people, that if I was not willing to get vaccinated and do what was right, to be able to fully do my job to the full extent of my ability, then they would be able to, they would use this vaccination policy. It's my own fault, basically, that I can't do it. So therefore, I can't be a counselor and do my job. So tough titty, basically. But they did this. They created this policy. They knew, according to my lawyer, they knew full well what the result was going to be by creating that policy, which was that I can't attend remotely unless I had a doctor's note, and the doctor's note would only be if I was not, or if I was vaccinated. So being not vaccinated did not count. And I said, I'm not going to agree with this. I object with this. I think it's ridiculous. You guys should let me do it. And then me communicating with municipal affairs, trying to figure this out, they said they can make whatever policy they want because they can. They're a corporation. They choose what they want to do. And again, nobody can hold them accountable except for the legal process. And I swear I'm not making this up. I'm not trying to be facetious. Only the legal process can hold the town accountable. Only public opinion can hold the town accountable. Only the election process can hold the town accountable. And only municipal affairs can hold the town accountable through legislation, and that applies to municipalities. So what was a man to do? Here we are with a policy that was created that was sure to make me get kicked out. They would not let me attend because I was unvaccinated. I attended remotely anyway, but I was not allowed to speak. Press the little button and speak. And the judge found that I did continue to attend during those 3 months, and that they didn't take a look at my request for leave of absence like they did with the mayor only a month earlier, and they didn't bring the vote to council to send me my notification after 3 months to say that I didn't attend in person or remotely officially. So therefore, I lost my seat, and therefore they had no reason to get me kicked out. Now, during this period of time, I also had a human rights investigation in place because I felt that that the vaccination policy was illegal, that they shouldn't have kicked me out because I was unvaccinated, and I was a councillor, and they couldn't kick me out because I was elected. This was, this was collusion, and it was corruption, and they just couldn't do it. It was not. I can't find the right word, but it was not. It was not just. It was not legal. My rights weren't there, and they weren't. The town wasn't interested in hearing this stuff. They just kept on going. They knew full well that I was going to take this to court, but I think they thought that I had no money and that I wasn't able to do it. But I was able to start it up, able to get the process through. I was able to win. I was able to get my seat back. And throughout all this, I had some webcasts. I've had some interviews with some people across Canada. I was part of a documentary, and I was on the news. I'm not sure if I just said that a moment ago, multiple times, for all the ins and outs of what happened to this. And the HR investigation found I was not responsible. All of the complaints were dropped, and they found the other people responsible for the HR investigation. So up to this point, up to the point that I was actually kicked out for not attending, I actually done nothing wrong, except for not getting vaccinated. So, and objecting to poor decisions. But again, the HR investigator looked at all the emails and found that everything was fine. Everything is shared to my site. It's available for you to read. If you can read that, you should be able to accept that as facts and put that into your brain and factor it into your logic. To just say something different than what that says, or to have bad feelings about that, means that you're on the wrong side of the fence, and that your logic is off, and that you're working from emotion. I can understand why some people feel bad about what I've been doing and getting the publicity for the town. But there's no such thing as bad publicity, for one. But it's embarrassing. I've said it's similar to, but the reason why it's embarrassing is that it's similar to someone being abused by a person of authority, coming back home and saying to that parent or whatever, "Mom, I was abused by so-and-so, and they touched me there," or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, they didn't do that to you. That person's such a good person. They would never have done that thing to you. Don't you ever say that thing about that person ever again, or we'll be so mad at you." And then that person keeping it internalized and feeling responsible for it, and the people who that person feels part of the social structure with would feel bad against them for them being abused, or them being part of the problem of what makes them feel uncomfortable. And that's really the meat of the matter about what most of the issues that these people out there feel, that don't actually know what's going on. Either these people who are good people will say that they're good people. They've judged me that I must be wrong because there's 7 people or 8 people over there, and they all feel as though I'm wrong, and they're fighting me really strong, and they wouldn't risk their reputation to go against me if they were wrong. They would say they must be right, so Grant must be wrong. It's only one person. But no, again, the HR investigator found out that I was not wrong whatsoever. Period. Full stop. And this sort of personality concept should be brought forward to the doubt, the degree of doubt. I can't find the word. My cat's scratching on the door there now, so hopefully you can. I can keep focused on you. But the degree of doubt can be brought forward to all the other situations here, in that I'm doing things by the book, I'm doing things correctly, and other individuals are doing this maliciously and collusively to cause problems for me. And they damn well are causing problems. And there's no real way out of this except for me to be able to explain things to you as a community, and for me to continue to speak up. Because the alternative to me not speaking up is to accept it, and to accept what they have to say as being truth. And then if I were to accept that in the beginning as them being truth, then I'd be the person who harassed I was the people who harassed them, and I was the people who caused issues, and I was the people who caused the money. What exactly did Grant do? Nobody knows what Grant did. Grant did things after the fact, acted certain ways, and said things that may have been misinterpreted or may have been incorrect, which I would admit to being incorrect if I had a conversation with somebody to understand these things. But again, nobody's offered me this opportunity. And if I was able to get access to the information that I needed as easily as I should get the access to the information, like most of the people out there think that I should get access to the information, then a lot of this wouldn't happen. One of the biggest things was getting back on the council. So I was gone for a year. The council had spent all this money. They fought me. They wouldn't release the information about who was responsible for the HR investigation. It was all redacted. It took me time to get that. I was mad that it cost the town all this money. The people were upset at me for no particular good reason. And I wanted the truth to be out there. I wanted to go through all the way to the end to make sure the truth was out, because I figured the process would make the truth come, and we'd be able to get to the end. And once people actually seen what the truth was, they'd come to grips with reality, and we'd be able to move on and get to the other side. But when I reached out to Municipal Affairs to figure out what I can do about the policies and procedures that were created only a few months after, well, I guess I was still in office, I suppose, at the time, during the first 5 months that I was technically in office, including the 3 months that I wasn't allowed to participate. The other individuals, the other two councillors, they got their shots, I understand, and they were allowed to participate longer. They were also close hand in hand with the other individuals that worked at the office, so it was easier for them to be cohesive and to collaborate together. Excuse me. And they created policies and procedures having to do with censorship. So they created policies and procedures about Facebook. They said that a councillor can't be on Facebook. They can't talk about minutes until a month afterwards when the minutes were approved. So I can't talk about what happened in a meeting for a month afterwards. So anybody who follows the rules, like I do, would follow that. And that means that I can't talk for a month. But that doesn't make sense. We've got other individuals who are part of the committees and who do interact with the community, and who I've been told visit people in the sheds and have conversations and go up to the garage, and they have conversations about stuff that happens in town councils. But for some reason, according to the policy and procedure, we can't. So if I were to follow the rules the way that it was intended, then things that were decided in a particular council meeting would happen, and it would be done before the community would know about it. And that's not what I was elected for. I was elected for transparency, accountability, and municipal reform, because I wanted to fix all this bullshit that's been put on to me. I as a person who has issues with social issues, I'll admit I have social issues. I'm a little bit odd. I'm a little bit stubborn. I'm different than most people. I'm bright. I rub my light off on people sometimes. So some people don't like me for that reason, but good people do. Good people who are compassionate and understanding and have the skills to communicate with people and are understanding of other people. They get me, and they think I'm an amazing person. But people who are intolerant and short, or don't have the skills for understanding people, or talk down to people who have disabilities, or don't have proper skills, or who can recognize things socially when things are wrong, can't recognize things when things are wrong, then I have problems. It's because I need some accommodations, which is what I tried to do when before I became a councillor with the previous mayor. And they said, "Don't worry, put that into your pocket. I'll make sure you're able to speak." But he never gave me opportunity to speak. Anybody who listens to those meetings can easily see that there was no opportunity for me to speak, and that people were being aggressive to me. You can see this all the way through. This would never stand up in a business place. HR would be called. They would have a conversation with the people being aggressive, and they would have to apologize and give it up. And if it were to continue, they would be kicked out, not me, which is what happened. These policies and procedures were created. You can't talk on Facebook. Recording policy. I was recording meetings. Before every meeting, they say the only person who can record meetings is the town clerk. But it's a public meeting. This is public. So whatever happens in public at that time is public. So, for instance, after that second meeting, when everyone was turning on me, which can easily be seen in the meeting, and no, not given, and I understood that I shouldn't have, or I should do things a little differently. But it was a really bad meeting. There was complaints put against me and stuff. It was, malicious activity. I decided to put up my intentions and my minutes, my submission for council up to the internet so people can take a look at it. They'll see, the great things that would happen, and to see things themselves. Part of that was mentioning me talking to the town about the property that the business person had interest in for the business thing, the one that I contacted them about. I was saying to say the piece of land was not big enough, and that got leaked out. It wasn't really leaked because it was said in the previous meeting that this person had an interest in doing that. But because this person was friends with the relatives of the town clerk, they decided to make complaints about me. The mother of one of the councillors decided to make a complaint about me. This is in the second meeting, right? Still, we had the husband of the town clerk made a complaint about me. I think that was in the third meeting. We had what else? We had, I had I believe the daughter or something of the mayor. I don't know who these people are. People making complaints and stuff, and speaking publicly in public meetings and saying things which are slanderous in themselves. People make comments that things that I say are slanderous. I'm just trying to protect myself and say things, call a spade as best I can. If you're not being cooperative and you're being aggressive, then you're not being cooperative and you're being aggressive. We need to talk about this stuff. Anybody who's able to understand what I'm trying to say through this recording should be able to understand that this is the type of conversation I'd like to have and how reasonable I am. Anybody who had a conversation with me should know how reasonable I am. But again, I've not been afforded this by people who are involved with this closely and who have the most to say. So all this slanderous material was being spoke of in town meetings. When the town clerk had an apology and she was going to stand down, she blamed it on me for her position. The reason why she stood down was because of me, because of the things that I was doing. But the HR investigation ended up saying that I did nothing. So, what exactly happened here? Months later, when I got back on, the mayor actually said, and it's on a recording, that it was the first 3 months of my behavior that put us here, and it was my responsibility that the town clerk had quit. So how does that work with the logic that the HR investigation said I was not responsible whatsoever? Full stop. How does that work? The human rights investigation, which I failed to say a second part of, was also about my stuttering, because I wanted an accommodation to make sure I was able to get some space to speak, because I speak longer than other people, and I was told that I can have that, but it was never afforded to me. And during the first few meetings, people were yelling at me aggressively, and not being very nice to me. If this was happening in any businesses, that person would generally be fired, really, because it was totally irreprehensible. Something like that would be a major problem. Generally, I think if workplace health and safety knew about that situation when it happened, I think probably they would have had an issue, and such as what happened when the other person was assaulted during my first meeting back. But everything, it was easy to make a complaint at that point. Those complaints were made that day, and it was brought to the table that day, and it was talked about that day, and in a live meeting that day, on the record, publicly, which was slanderous and libel. But they don't recognize that as the damage that was done, even though they're wrong. Months and months later, they were responsible for a councillor code of conduct in which they were the judge, jury, investigator, and the judge, jury, and investigator and executioner, of my behavior, which they were judging based on the policies and procedures they made during the first 3 months of me being on council. So when I was kicked out for a year, and I contacted Municipal Affairs to try to figure out if there's a way to get mediated back into this conversation or into this workplace, they said, we don't mediate. There's no way you can do it. You got to communicate with them and try to get in with them. So I sent messages to them to try to get some mediation, to try to ease my way in there. But it seems as though they already had an opinion that I was still an aggressor. They already spent, $56,000, $57,000, whatever the amount is. I think they said 28, but they're not fully transparent with some of their numbers either. Yeah, I've got some access to information requests on that, and it's all fuzzy information. You'd figure they'd be a little more clear, about how much they've spent. But still, it's a lot of money that they spent on this. If you add everything all up, it's $28,000 to the lawyers for this particular fight itself. But then there's another $11,000 for the for the human rights investigation, and then there's another $7,000 for the HR investigation, plus there's other various lawyer fees. All for what exactly? What exactly did I do? What exactly was the reason they had to go to court to go against me? What were they fighting? What did I do wrong that they were fighting for? Who did they get permission from to bring me to court? Who voted for this? This was all part of my access to information request. I never got those answers properly. Basically, they said it's in the minutes. They don't want to be transparent. They don't want to take this responsibility. Meanwhile, they're blaming it on me, but they're not taking into consideration their actions and their faults. And they didn't want to have a mediation to discuss things properly. What got us here, what made us get to the position where we're in, why the money was spent, what mistakes were made to get for me to be kicked out and to come back, why they thought they were right, and to discuss things through fully. They weren't able to do that. So, and because they had policies and procedures and I knew that I was going to break the rules as soon as I entered the building, I let Municipal Affairs know that I had an issue, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to be taken care of, and that I thought there was going to be problems when I got back into the office, and I wanted the way to work through it. So I tried to communicate with the town, try to get them to understand it with me, and they weren't able to come to a resolution. So I let the town let the town expect what I was going to do. I also let Municipal Affairs know what I was going to do. Basically, there was a thing called standing on point of order. So standing on point of order is a thing in which generally decisions by council are final. Whatever they decide, you can't really change unless there's a challenge, legal challenge or something like that, or unless it's something really, really extreme that you need to figure out, that you need to discuss. Generally, case closed. We already voted on this. Let's not discuss this anymore. That's fine. Which some people may think I'm being unreasonable about, but I'm fine with that concept. There's rules for it, and we follow those rules if you follow them. But you can't change them as you're going, which is what the town did in this situation. So I'd done an access to information request. I found out that there was no record of the standing on point of order being taken from the rules of procedure at any point previous to the time that I used them, and then afterwards them taking it out to basically cover up the tracks and make it so that no one else can do this bullshit ever again, according to what they think. But they're not thinking this thing through properly. The reason why the standing on point of order is in place is to bring up things that are seriously wrong. So it was on the rules of procedure, and the Municipal Affairs said to me that you can only do what's on the rules of procedure. So if something is on the rules of procedure, you can do that. If it's not, you can't do that, because that's the way the rules work. Well, that makes fine for me. So I brought this information to the town. I said, hey, they said that I can do whatever is on the rules of procedure. Standing on point of order is on a rule of procedure. I'm planning on staying on a point of order. I want to let you know. So just be aware, and this is the reason why I'm going to do it, which is because of the censorship policies, the vaccination policies, and I want to figure out why they put me through this, and why they spent this money, and what the problem is, who's at fault, and let's discuss these things. I prepared many hours. Some people think I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and just causing trouble, but I've committed hundreds of hours of dedication to try to fight this. If only I was able to put this interest, this enthusiasm, and this work into actually doing stuff for the town, it would be phenomenal. I'd be able to do the stuff that I was able to do in my career for the past 25 years and help the businesses that I got paid well for the job that I've done to make things better. But unfortunately, they were challenged by me. They didn't like what I was doing. They were standing up for the town clerk, who felt that I was responsible for my behavior. And they already dug their hole too deep with the HR investigation and all the other expenses, the going to court and stuff. So we got to keep going. It's probably what they're thinking too. Where are they going to move, right? They got to take responsibility, and it's going to be hard to take responsibility for that. Might as well just blame Grant. Just one person to blame instead of everybody sharing the blame and taking responsibility. So, excuse me. So when I let the police know that I was going to stand on point of order, I let the police know that there's probably going to be problems. Before this, the Musgrave Harbour hate site was stirring up a lot of shit. There was a lot of people saying nasty stuff to us. And it was from nowhere. And a lot of people came out of nowhere. A lot of close people who were close to me came out of nowhere and started saying stuff. I had to block a lot of people. I spent a lot of time, protecting myself and saying things that were helping to validate. I was hoping that if it fell on good ears, that the good ears would hear it, it would resonate, and they'd be able to come to a conclusion that things aren't as they seem, and fall to my side of the fence. But it never worked out that way. We have three variables: either they're good people and they're mistaken, they're bad people and they're manipulative, or I'm not sure what the third one is, to tell you the truth, but that's the type of person I am. I leave an avenue of doubt of what the hell is going on here, and can you please let me know? So I've been blocked by Facebook for answering too many messages because I've been responding to people. I put a lot of effort into this. So again, if only I was able to put effort into this, we'd have collaboration. We'd have some amazing things. That money engine concept, which is, the United Way contacted me 2 months after the closing date to see whether or not I was able to submit my application because they wanted to give me the money. No one was able to become a Donee except for the town themselves. The Lions Club can't, there's nobody able to do that. So I basically, the reason why I was pushing at the town is because I realized that the only people able to do something for you as a community above and beyond whatever they are sucking at the tit of government to get money from them is to go for charity, which is the new tomorrow, really. All businesses out there are altruistic in a certain way, whether for tax purposes is not important, but they want to give back to the community. So if they're able to give through money through to a Donee, they're able to help grow the community from the charity level. You can't look at this as being, I'm poor, can you give me charity? That's not the idea here. It's how can we help you grow? And this concept of the money engine was to have a business, which would have been a committee of the town council that was able to continually access this charitable resource. And my idea was to share this with other communities as well, so that they can cookie cut the idea, access this charity, and then get the things that they need for their community as well. But again, it was not understood, and we missed out on the opportunity. Since then, there's been a lot of other communities that have done certain things, but we've not been able to do it ourselves because anything that Grant comes up with is not a good idea, according to what I get back from the other people on the board, which is problematic because if you are only going to have the same ideas, you're not going to grow. My wife has commented herself, we've been coming here for 14 years and nothing's changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. Things have disappeared, not grown. And we came here with the idea of growth. What can we do to help make the community grow? And these people, these individuals with nefarious, malicious intent, or at least their actions and the result were malicious and hurtful, has made it so that these ideas and these positive things were not going to happen. And that makes me angry to a certain extent. But it's not anger to a malicious anger. It's frustration anger, because if I can't do this as a person with a problem with my brain, and a person who's gotten so far, who's has a disability but is able to function and has such a great career and is able to do so many things, and I think I am a bright person to a certain extent. I'm bad with math and things to those extents. I've got my faults, but I'm a pretty smart person to a fault, but I've also got issues to some more faults, enough to call me a disability. I'm sure some of you guys have turned me off a long time ago because I'm just rambling on as far as you're concerned, because I say more words than are necessary. But those of you who have stuck with me, thank you so much. You should be able to hear my heart and understand who I am by listening to this video. But the concept is that if I can't interact with the town and have these sort of ideas come to fruition, if we're unable to do more than what the government's able to offer us, if only they're able to approve our grant, then what's going to happen to this community? It's going to get smaller. I'm so disappointed that we have such potential here in this community for growth, but we just don't have it. I'm not sure if it's the leadership or if it's or if it's what's happened to me, that ideas just can't get brought to the table and understood without being said that he can't take no for an answer. I'm a salesperson. I'm a customer service person. I understand what pushes the buttons and what doesn't. I understand what sales is. I understand what's too far and what's going to be too much. But I also understand what's necessary to get a point across. I may ramble on too much, but I'll get to the point, and I do have the capability to understand that and to execute big ideas and concepts. But if somebody, if I can be as humble but as cocky to say, somebody who's capable as me can come to this town and be shut down so horribly and destroyed so horribly, and to have so much loss, and to be ridiculed and so much slander, and have this opinion that's made about me that's so off, because no one's actually taken the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation to me. At least I should say, none of the people who have strong opinions about me have taken the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation about me. They just flap their lip. They think that they know who I am, and they have an opinion that they think that they can have because they feel a certain way. Just because you feel it does not mean that it's true. It just means you need to talk to the person, understand things better, and then have different feelings than you had before. If you feel it and you think it's true and you act on it, then you're a fool. I'm sorry. That's what you are. You're a fool. And if we cannot have a conversation to figure things out, then you're the fool who made the mistake. I have a child I have two children who were born premature. They're both as sharp as a whip in terms of being able. They amaze me every day, and they do things that they shouldn't be able to do at their age. And I think that they both have amazing potential. But one of them, he had a really tough trip. He was in the hospital for, I think it was 9 months. He had oxygen hooked up to him. They were afraid it was going to cause brain damage and stuff. And he's a little bit strange. I'm sorry, Alec, if you're listening to this. Down the road, I'm sorry for having to bring your name into this. But he's a little bit odd. I'm not sure if he's autistic, or if he's got Asperger's, or if he's just a little strange. And he can be him. He can be himself. He can be who he wants to be. I'm trying to mold him and turn him into a good person. But if I were to put this child out into the community and have him go to school, and in with the individuals who are feeling so awful about me and saying such awful things about me, these children are going to be eaten up and spit out, and you're going to damage my child. You've damaged me. You've damaged my wife. You've damaged grandma. You've damaged my daughter. You've damaged my two boys. And I'm damn well going to make sure that the truth is going to be figured out. I'm sorry. If you expect me to back down, I don't know where your mind is. You need to take responsibility for this. These individuals, I'm doing this for my future, for my children's future, and for other people out there who are like them. If I can't interact with my town council with the abilities that I have, and to make changes, which I have actually thought out quite extensively, and I know that they're able to work, and a lot of people who are experts have looked at these things and have agreed that these are quite capable and workable plans. If I can't do this, then nobody can do it. This place is going to die. This place is going to go to nothing. You're going to be eaten up and spit out by people who expropriation, people who are leaving out here, leaving this community and going somewhere else. It's going to get smaller and smaller. You're going to have nothing. You're going to have more troubles. It doesn't matter if this place is going to fall down in the next few years. You've got no infrastructure. You've got no pipes. The pipes are going to all collapse. The water treatment plants is falling apart here. You guys need help. And if somebody with enthusiasm who's able to put as much interest and energy and time into this fight as I have was able to actually do work to help the community, it would be amazing the types of stuff that can happen in this community if we were all able to come together and cooperate without thinking that you don't want to share the sandbox because you're afraid to get a bit of sand in your eyes. You know what I mean? It's not about being the guy who shines the most. I'm not that type of person. And anybody who knows me, I don't want to be the type guy on top. Sure, I do sing and I do videos, which I'm proud of my skill that I'm able to do, and I do that with confidence. And some people may look at that as being narcissistic, but again, I'm sharing my energy with you by singing. I'm doing that from my heart because I want to share a message with you, or I want you to hear and feel something. I want to get through to you somehow. I'm doing that to help you grow. I want to share with you. I'm the type of person, if I have a toothpaste that I like to tell you I got toothpaste that I love, and it's really great when you try it too. I do that with everything in my life. And the point of that being is that I think I lost my point. Oh, is that nobody, my child with these issues and these interface issues, and other people with worse issues, but who are also fully capable in the mind, but maybe have physical issues or comprehension issues, but are still fully functional. People with Asperger's or something like that, for instance, or people who have Tourette's or who curse or what have you out of the blue. They won't be judged in a certain way, or people who have drug problems but are still, have good minds and are able to contribute, because that might change them from their drug problems, because they have activities to do and something to have as an alternative to their addiction. There's all these positive spins that I turn for people and situations, but nobody's able to do this same positive twist and positive turn for me. And I want to make sure I pave the road for others like me to be able to do this in their communities. I want to make sure that anybody who decides to become a town councillor is not kicked out because individuals have made up policies and procedures to maliciously kick them out, and apply those policies and procedures in a councillor code of conduct to say, look, he's not acting properly because of the behaviors he's acting, because we made policies and procedures and now he's acting bad, and look, we kicked him out for a year and he's upset, and we don't think he should be upset, and talking about why he's upset because we made a policy procedure and say that he shouldn't be talking about it on the internet. No, that's bullshit, man. And everybody out there should know it's bullshit. Anything that happens in this town council is public information after it's said in a public meeting. It can be spoken about far and wide. Anything that happens can be recorded as long as it's a public meeting. And to say that a town councillor cannot talk about stuff, and to say that a town councillor cannot have a web page to talk about town events, and to say that he can't identify himself as a town councillor when he talks to people, to say, hey, I'm Grant Abbott from Musgrave. I'm a town councillor. I'm calling to speak with you about park information. I can't do that unless I'm given permission to call on behalf of the town councillor as a delegate through my committee. No, man, nothing's going to ever change. That's the problem. This is the problem. This is the issue. We're being restricted by rules and regulations that are created by pulling them out of their ass. They made them up. They caused this problem. I'm not in my seat right now. Grandma's not here. I've spent a lot of money. You have expenses for your taxes and had to have a controller applied because there was extra money spent that shouldn't have been spent. Sure, the controller was almost going to be applied the year before or 2 years before, but the town clerk managed to save us. Thank you, by the way. But the extra spending that they did is what made us turn into having the controller applied. And the controller is the municipal affairs representative that gave them opinions about how to deal with me. So they technically gave them the advice how to bring me to court. They said you can. So it's whether or not they said you should, they said you can because of these things. And yeah, you can make up these rules because you're a corporation, it's your business, you can do it, and they did. But should they? That's the other question. That was the challenge that I made them. I said, you should contact your lawyer. During one of the first meetings, they said, we did it unanimously. We'll contact our lawyer regarding this remote attendance policy thing. They never did. They never contacted our lawyer. Why? We all said that they did. That means they never followed through on the order. We all made an order. Things that we say in the council and that we decide on, it's an order and it needs to happen. They need to follow through with the order, and the town clerk's responsible for doing it. So, for instance, when I'm talking about the snowblower not being purchased, we made an order that snowblower was going to be purchased. It never followed through to buy it because they decided they didn't want to spend it for whatever reason. But there has to be a vote not to make the snowblower due to financial issues. That never happened either. That's because they make the rules up as they go. Whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it. As long as they decide they want to do it, they can do it. Because again, there's no one to hold them accountable except for themselves. And when I came in with accountability and transparency, they didn't want me there. They didn't want things to be exposed. They didn't want the inner workings of the town council to be on the internet. They didn't want me to be talking about the water being broken. They didn't want me to be talking about the town or the money they spent on the side-by-side for the SERPA loan or whatever it's called. they didn't want any of that, because they didn't want me talking about the taxes. They didn't want any of this budget information to be out there. They didn't want any of these meetings to be up online. If they should, though, and that's part of the issue. I think they should have all of the meetings online all the time, and they should post the audio. But they say that they own ownership to the audio. They have copyright of the audio, and that it cannot be used in any way, shape, or form unless they get written permission from the council. So they're saying that the public information that's been recorded during a public meeting cannot be used by anybody or recorded by except for the town clerk, and cannot be shared in any way except for the town and town council. And I disagree with that. So when we got to the first meeting back, no mediation, the town knew that I was going to stand on point of order. They, when I was going to do it, they said, "I'm sorry, you can't do it because it's not part of the rules of procedure." And I was like, "Well, it is, though." They said, "No, it's not. The Municipal Affairs said that you can't do it." I said, "Well, they said to me that they can." And I believe they got him on the line at the time or something like that. I think it was later on, I believe. He was ready. It was in the evening, so he knew this call was going to happen, the guy from Municipal Affairs. And he took the call to try to talk me down or get me out, or to let me know what the rules are. He was fully able and fully wanting to have a conversation with me at that time, but he didn't want to talk through the issue or be a mediator previous to this. So when I stood on point of order and the hate site has stirred up all this interest, the place was full of people that have never been to the council before and have now suddenly got interest in council. And they were there because I've been gone for a year. The hate site stirred up information about me, and the council had not taken responsibility for anything. They knew that I was coming back, and they wanted to see what was going to happen. So when I first sat down into that town council meeting, I had a friend who came with me. He was recording the process, recording what was happening, and I sat down. They knew I was going to do the stand on point of order. They said it didn't exist. I knew it did exist. So stand on point of order was to announce something that was incorrect. And I knew that I was going to be recording the meeting. And I knew that I was going to be still doing stuff on Facebook. So I had to stand on point of order to acknowledge that, hey, I'm still going to do this thing. We need to talk about this and work it through, because this happened when I wasn't here. And also I was gone for a year. Let's talk about this. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew that they were going to let me speak a little bit, call for order. They're going to call for order again, and then they're going to stop the meeting. Now, at that point, the townspeople went wild, because they also knew what was going to happen, more than likely, because they had a meeting a while before that too, in which the town council had said, we're not going to stand down, we're not going to back down, we're going to see this through to the end. And they actually said something to go against me, as opposed to try to solve the problem or take responsibility. So they caused issues to get this crowd stirred up in a previous meeting. So by not denouncing the violence, by not denouncing the bad attitudes, by not denouncing the attitudes on Facebook, by the councillors' husbands, or the councillors' cousins, or the councillors or the firefighters themselves saying stuff to me on Facebook, by not denouncing this activity or telling them to stop, or saying that they don't agree with it, or even trying to work through the problem and just having a mediation meeting, putting things public, putting things to rest, coming to an understanding, having just letting the public know what exactly happened, being responsible to me after putting me through trouble, and just apologizing. Just, they lost, they were wrong. Let's take responsibility and move on. But they weren't ready for that. They doubled down. They made it even worse. I had to stand on a point of order. I started to talk about how recording public meetings were legal, and I kept reading. I had my preparation done, hours and hours and hours of preparation, knowing what I wanted to say, made sure it was well said as opposed to off the cuff, made sure that it's not rude or anything like that, right? It was proper things, responsible things. And, they just didn't want to hear it. They had to clear the room, unfortunately. I knew I had to stay there because I couldn't get out. I expected to have to stay there. So I continued to read what I had prepared into my microphone. So I put it up on the internet a little later on. And, they called the police. The police knew I was going to do this, so I was comfortable with that. I knew that they weren't going to come in and arrest me and be rude to me. So because I let them know that this was probably going to become a problem, but they couldn't come in advance. So during that time, the the mayor came in. They sat down with me. You know, they discussed what the issues were in general and why I was doing it. And they were still upset with me. They still thought that I was responsible. They said that I caused all this, and I put the town on his head, and you know that. So basically, their feelings against me and about how I was bringing transparency and accountability, and how they didn't want to discuss things and they didn't want to participate in this accountability and transparency, and therefore I was the problem, even though I was elected for accountability and transparency, and that my electorates expected me to act and speak in a responsible way, but to demand accountability and transparency. They were surprised, and they thought I was wrong and incorrect, and you know, not sociable. You know, I was a, you know, they thought I was supposed to be a yes man. They thought I was supposed to agree with them and do what they say, but you know, I explained to them that I wanted time to explain this, to have a conversation about what was going on, to let them know. Later, they said that they'd give me a special meeting so I can have a conversation with them about it. Never ever happened. You know, the workplace health and safety put a shutdown on the meetings for multiple months. We had remote meetings for a little bit longer. They said that they would have a special meeting, but the special meeting never ever happened. We were put into a break for 3 months due to the workplace health and safety, you know, it being imposed, and everything was online for a few months. During this time, everyone was being aggressive to me. You know, it's easy to see during these meetings that they were aggressive. They were cutting me off, talking on top of me, saying these little jabs. You know, people were asking me these odd questions, speaking out of turn, not letting me have complete thoughts. They were being aggressive. That's the best I can say. I can't find the right words to explain it right now. But again, if anyone listened to this and say, "Oh yeah, no, that person was being so sweet," no, you were being aggressive by doing this. No. What's happened here is that they are embarrassed. They have they're taking the power from the aggressive people in the town, that they're right. They think that I'm wrong for some reason because I'm upsetting them and causing them the money. But they're making these decisions. You know, it's their decision. They made the decision. They didn't want to talk things through, and it's their doing. So here we are today. But how are we going to get out of this? That's really where it comes down to. You know, I've been doing more access to information requests and trying to talk through from a distance about what's been happening in the town, trying to ask questions and talk on the Facebook page. But like I said, the communication is not open. They're not providing me with information when I need it, and they never did it to begin with. So, you know, by saying that I should ask for information and I should be more accurate with my information, if only I was still part of the council like I'm elected for, and if only I had access to the information like I'm entitled to, and if only I had answers to the questions like I should have, and if only I was part of the meetings and able to communicate openly like I'm supposed to, then maybe I would be a little bit more informed. Maybe me not knowing what the name of that loan is would also be in my head a little stronger, because I'd be part of the meetings. I'd be a little more informed. I would have written it down. I've asked how to spell it. You know what I mean? All these little things that are expected, you know, as your due diligence of being a good person, you know, as an employee, or just doing your job, you know, in general, that would come around and it would mold you into a good person. But I was not given that opportunity. Some people asked, why didn't you go out and shovel the rink, you know, during these meetings, or stabbing at me and trying to ask me questions. Why didn't you go out and do the rink? You know, what was I supposed to do after being aggressed by these firefighters and by multiple people online? You want me to get my ski pants on in the middle of the winter and go up onto the rink and be ostracized by people up there being angry at me? No, that's not reasonable. It's not expected. What is expected, though, is that you would take responsibility for your actions. We'd talk it through. We'd fix the situation as responsible adults, out of the goodness of your heart, in order to fix what you've done to me and my family. It's obvious that you've caused damage, and it's not so obvious how I've become part of this, except for me talking out and being loud about it. But being loud about it is my right. Because if someone's going to, you know, if someone's going to say something about me, I'm going to make sure I object to it. It's the same thing you should do with your children. You know, if your children are saying a curse word, you make sure you acknowledge it each and every time. Otherwise, that curse word is going to be ingrained in their psyche, and they're going to use it very easily, right? And you need to do it continuously. So if anyone's going to be aggressive to me, I'm going to call out the aggressiveness. And that's what you'd expect anybody good to do, really, or at least a freedom fighter type person, somebody who's strong enough to do it. You know, I've been bullied all my life, and I'm damn well sure have learned how to have a thick skin, and I'm a representation of what to do when you're being bullied or when you're being taken advantage of. It's easy to see that this is what's happened. If I'm not being a Chicken Little, it's happened. It's easy to see. A lot of people have confirmed with me. I'm not making this up. Good people have looked at these videos and these audios too, and looked at what I've said on Facebook. Look what other people have said to me, and they see it. They've told me. So these people compared to these people. So the people who are saying, Grant, you're an asshole, and the people saying, Grant, you're doing a great job. The people who are being quiet because they don't want to be aggressed by these assholes. Who am I going to listen to? The people who don't talk to me, the people who don't discuss things with me, people who don't understand, or the people who do talk to me and who say, yeah, Grant, these guys are being assholes. I can easily see it. They're being difficult to you. They applied a business tax to me. I'm not going to get into the details except for the fact that they have decided the terms and conditions, the time frame, and the amount, and the fact that a business exists without an appeal process. So even though I have appealed and I gave the confines of what we're appealing of, they said, no, we're told that this is what it is and this is what it is and you owe the money. And not only have they continued to bill me more money for another year, they've sent me an invoice with the last year's bill on it as well, and they haven't answered how can we attend to solving this issue. So they're taking advantage of me, and if they're taking advantage of me, they're taking advantage of you. If they can take advantage of me so blatantly and so much out in the open, they're taking advantage of you privately, if not out in the open. They've since applied at $1,000 for 2 vacant properties, supposedly, that I have. I don't have 2 vacant properties. I have 1 property. That's it, and it's not vacant. And supposedly this $500 is supposed to be for a vacant property, and no one else except for me who has property has been charged for vacant property. So that means that they charged me twice incorrectly, or at least once. If the other property is up for contest, and we need to discuss why there's property contest, fine, okay, let's just contest that one piece of property. But there's 2 pieces of property being charged. So why is there 2 being charged? I've since asked them again after they said it is what it is. We are correct, and you do owe it. That was the response. They gave the legislation saying they can do it, and then they gave the decision that the council made said that they are going to do it, and that was and they said that they're correct, which means that we need to pay whatever's in that bill. So what am I supposed to do after that? I don't have 2 properties. These things are supposed to be for 2 properties. I only have 1 property. There's obviously 2 properties charged. So the logic here is that there's obviously a mistake. Let's fix the mistake. But they're not willing to fix the mistake. This is yet another example of their malicious intent. They're doing this to injure me. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. I wish I was mistaken. Like I said, for the first year, I was saying, I'm mistaken. They can't be assholes. They can't be, doing this maliciously. They must come to their senses sometime soon. They must be wrong. They must just be just wrong, and they'll fix it soon. But it's never happened. They've done it worse. They've done it intentionally. They've done things that are obvious, right? Like I said, even just ignoring me continuously is with questions via email, and somehow the town is getting information about me and about my interaction with the town itself, my emails and stuff. So I'm not sure who's getting the information. I guess maybe the clerk is talking to the councillors or something like that. I don't know. And the councillors are talking to other people. But, third degrees of separation are getting intimate information in regards to my interactions with the town. So even though I'm not getting responses back properly, these people know about these responses or these emails. It's ridiculous. It's craziness. And this can't happen. If this is happening in my town, this is happening in every town across Newfoundland. It needs to change. Everything that happens in your town is for you as a citizen. You are responsible. Sorry, you are the shareholder of this town. This is your business. This is your corporation. You decided that you want to become part of this corporation, and you can decide to get out of it too, by the way. And that's for another day. But you decided you want to become part of the corporation. You decide to pay the bills and the fees and stuff, and you just agree with it. This board is responsible to make the decisions for the corporation that you're part of as shareholders. You pay your taxes, and you don't really get. I guess the dividends is the services that you're getting paid. You pay your dues, and you get the dividends, which is the services. But we never agreed to this extra fee. But the Municipal Affairs supposedly applied it. Why and how they got authority to do it, I don't know. How they did it sounds weird, because during, like I said, in the first meeting that I heard them say is that the Municipal Affairs cannot do anything unless we agree with it as a council. And in the last meeting, they said we did not agree with this. We do not. No one on this council agrees to this price increase. So who is responsible, and who made the decision, and why was it applied? Under what under what reasons, and why is it that they can't fix my problem easier? And if they're not responsible for it at the town hall, then who do I contact? Why haven't they told me that? There's people in the community that have more advice for me about how to solve this problem than what the people at the town hall has. It's just maliciousness. It's just collusion. It's craziness. And for me to be here, continuously doing messages, typing and stuff like that, and nobody understanding this, or nobody deciding to pick the phone up. I can't say nobody. I'm trying to talk about the people who are committed and talking openly to me negatively online. But if these people can't pick the phone up to me and figure out what exactly is going on, ask me the questions honestly, then what am I supposed to do? I've got to keep up the fight. I got to keep going. I'm still looking for alternatives. I'm going to do everything within my power to get to the end of this and hold the town responsible. So, by thinking that I'm going to go away and think I'm going to stop, you got another thing coming. I'm sorry. I'm here to the end, and I've got more to say than what I can fit into this video. This is just trying to get to the end of the general story and to try to express what's happened. Again, this would be a much better conversation as a dynamic conversation. So I challenge you, pick up the telephone and give me a call. I was thinking about holding a question and answer period in public, but with the turnout for that meeting, when everyone blowing the horn at me, I'm not sure if it's too safe for me to do. I might get hurt. But I was thinking about doing something online, having people do a call-in show, but that's too public. Like, why don't you just pick the phone up and give me a call? Seriously, if you have an opinion about me, and you think that you know me, and you think that I'm doing a certain thing, and you're wondering why I should do something different, then give me a call. I'll talk to you. We'll talk it through. You'll ask the questions you want to answer. You can get right down to the nitty-gritty. You can form your opinion about what I said, and then you can go away, and then you can talk to people about what you think and feel about me based on the actual interaction that I had with you, not what people have told you in third degree, not what you perceive based on your power of perception, based on the meeting that and the way that meetings you heard and the way that I'm reacting, or not even on the way that you've seen me act online or things I type online. Again, I've got a word problem. I'm going to type my thing quick, as fast as I can. I got my family to spend time with. This is a long video. I've done many videos like this, and I've spent many hours doing things, writing it up for court documents and things like that. It's exhausting. I've lost like 30, 40 pounds since I've first got here. It's I'm a little more slim, but is it good for me, or is it just a change of behavior, me working outside more and stuff like that? I don't really know. It's a lot of stress, though, I'll tell you that much. And by people telling me to spend time with my family and not being involved with this is what it's for. It's for my family. I've got to fix this. These individuals, like I said, my son, who's a little bit strange, he's got ideas. He's smart. If he came up with an idea like I did and he wanted to bring it to the town, he wouldn't be able to interact with them because he wouldn't have the skills to do so, because these people at the town perceived me in this way, even though I've never been perceived this way before. I've been successful. I've been in boardrooms. I've done many, many great things. I've had great conversations. I've been dynamic. I've give people space to talk. I've made mistakes. I've talked on people. I've said, "Oops, I'm sorry. You go ahead and talk." But generally, I've been a pretty proficient good guy. And this event is going to cause issues from my employment even. And this is why it's such a big deal too. Why I can't back down is because if you are looking to employ me, and you type in the name Grant Abbott, Musgrave Harbour on the internet, you can see a lot of things. And if you're quick to judge, you may judge that I'm a shit disturber or I'm causing trouble. But I'm just standing up for my rights. I'm making sure that my side of the story is heard. Whether or not you listen to my audio and video and understand it, then that's up to you. I can't make you. I can't make you understand. I can't lead you to water and make you drink. But hopefully you do. If you're a good person, you have. You've taken the time to listen to this and try to understand. And if you really have a doubt in your mind after this, and you've taken the time to listen to it, because you're committed to this, right? And you really understand. You really want to understand where I'm coming from, so that you can continue to be a someone against me or to be corrected, which good people want to be, then you've got this long video to give it a try, and you can give me a call after this, and we can talk. We can be friends. We can get together. We can have a coffee. We can chat. I don't mean friends when I say hang out with me all the time, but I mean we can be friends. We can you can reach out to me if you need me. If you want me, I'm here. I've been accused of having a computer business, but I've given a lot of my time away for free, because I want people to be successful. I want people to have something that works. I want to give my skills to them. Same thing with the toothpaste earlier I was talking about. If I have something to share, I want to share it. I want to share my ability to help you get through your problems. I want to share my ideas. And that's really what people I think are afraid of, is me shining too brightly, me having different ideas than them that they need to agree with, because there's no reason not to agree with it. And they might not have the skills to discuss it or to talk about the pros and cons. I guess that might be it. Other than that, you're an asshole. That's it. I just too, like I said, I'm mistaken, and you're mistaken, and we can work through it. Or you're an asshole. Or you already agree with me. Oh, that's the third one earlier. You already agree with me. You already have been listening, and you understand, right? But if you don't want to take time to call me, you don't want to take time to listen to these audios and try to pick things apart, and you want to agree with everybody else and be on the bandwagon, then you're an asshole. I'm sorry. I don't usually use those words, especially so many times in a video, but there's no other way to explain it. If you're not using the right skills, you're not trying to be compassionate, you're not using all these positive words that positive people try to strive for, and you actually try to apply it, and you act differently, then you're an asshole, and you're pretending, and you're a gaslighter, and you're probably the narcissist, because those are the ones who make up lies. But my story has always been the same. Their story has always been wishy-washy and full of holes, and has been proven wrong in many ways. So if you still feel as though I'm responsible, and you don't pick the telephone up to give me a call or come visit and have a coffee, and don't listen to these audios, then there's no hope for you. And I don't really care what you think, because you're not in this You're not in this world to have a conversation. You're in this world to oppress and to put your will onto other people without caring what they think, and to have power and to control and to keep secret and to be hidden and to let other people have their way with us, because you feel as though they are the ones in power. You as a town council, you need to put the power in the citizens' hands. You are a citizen to begin with. You say this in the meeting before. You're a citizen first. Take the power back. Put it in your hands. Be good people. Think about the citizens first. Think about what you've done to me. Think about what you've done to my family. Think about what's right, and then carry through, because you're setting a precedent for other people looking at this and thinking, what have you done to Grant and his family? There's people out there, a lot of people. You might think that you're right, but there's more people out there who have contacted me, who are a part of this community, who live in this community too, by the way. And also lots of people outside the community, across Newfoundland and across Canada, who have given me support far and beyond the detractors within this community. So I know that I'm right. If you can get to the other side and sit down and have a conversation with me, then this would be better. You better fix my situation by coming to grips with your part in the damage you've done to me, and we'll be able to find solutions for other people to interact with the community and to contribute and become part of it. Because I got kicked out 3 times, by the way. I got kicked out once because I never attended remote attendance policy. Once because I didn't listen to the policies and procedures that were created that were about censorship, and also my behavior in regards to me objecting to being kicked out. And then a 3rd time because somebody decided to give me a kick on Facebook and agree to another person that was giving me a kick on Facebook, who would never be giving me a kick to begin with if I wasn't put in a situation to have to object to the bad behavior. Again, it's nothing that I've done. And in this situation, that when I got a random kick, was that the town had a email breach in which some people were stealing money from an email transfer. Even though the town said to the public, don't email transfer, it's still the responsibility of the town to make sure that their infrastructure is secure. And at that period of time, they had an issue with their email, which was probably because it was hacked at the time and they didn't understand what was going on. But they never took care of the problem completely. They never done an investigation. They never called the RCMP. I did, but then they made fun of me about it afterwards. After the citizens contacted me to ask me to represent them, the money was siphoned out of their account, and they were told that, not out of their account, but moved by email transfer to another account. And they took turns. There was multiple people who took turns taking money out of that account, which means that there's other people who also took money out of the email transfer. That means that there are other people who were taken advantage of, and they told this individual that even though that you sent the money the way that you were told you were supposed to, and even though we lost it because someone else took it, you still owe the money, but you don't have to. You don't have to pay interest, but you're still responsible. That's just irresponsible, and that's just an evidence of the behavior that they're playing towards me. They're not acting like citizens. They're acting like government officials who are looking at the people as cattle, as not faces, not individuals, but as faceless money dollar signs. That's it. If I'm wrong and you're different, then act different, right? That's it. Just act different. If I'm wrong, do it, and then I'm wrong. Then I'll be able to take that back. But until such point that I can see other behavior, that's what it is. You're acting as though you're not taking things into consideration as a whole. Where am I going with this? Trying to summarize it, because again, this could go on forever. So I'm not going to be backing down. They're going to need to change the way that they do business, take accountability, or they're going to need to step down. Still, I've still cost me a lot of money for this. And I'm an individual who suffered because of the actions of the people on town council, and I don't want other people to have the same damage done to them because the town council can. There needs to be some accountability and transparency. For those of you out there who are tied up in the mess, who actually are emotionally tangled, and honestly feel as though I'm hurting the town in any way, shape, or form, I apologize wholeheartedly. It's not what I'm trying to do, and as an empath, it hurts me when I hear this, or you guys feel bad about the situation. But not being there to be able to have the conversation, and just being the target of the statement, and not being able to speak back, or is problematic in itself, because that's slanderous, and also situations don't get solved and things get worse because statements are made that are false, and then you can't fix them, right? And you can't express yourself and be a human in that conversation. But I want to apologize wholeheartedly that for any stress that I've caused to you. I also want to apologize to the community members as a whole and far and broad for any embarrassment that I've brought to you. But I want to also apologize for the members of council who have put me through this, and who have made me have to stand up and to to respond this way to oppression and aggression and negative, malicious activity. But if anybody, I'm the man to do it, with that thick skin of mine that I'm talking to you about, and I'm going to go all the way. So again, I could go on for hours, but this has gone on long enough. If you want to have a chat with me, come chat with me, and we'll figure this stuff out. Otherwise, you'll see me type things on the internet where I need to. If you're talking shit, I'm not going to talk back to you. I'm done with a lot of people. You're not willing to speak with me, but you have a lot of opinions, and you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking out of your ass. So if you really want to talk with me, come chat with me. We'll figure it out, and then you can talk all you want, and I'll agree with you where it's true, and disagree where you are wrong, but at least you have a grasp of what my reality is as being a human, as opposed to just a face on the internet or some typing, an audio. You know what I mean? What someone else told you. Anyway, let's see. I hope to see you on the other end of this. On a positive side, I hope to bring a lot of positivity, interest, and hopefully tourists to this town, make a lot of change, help protect you from outside aggressors that might be trying to bring poor decisions to your town or the region, and to help uphold positivity and what's right. And if anybody in the community wants me to speak out for them and take their issue public, or to represent them in the council, or to, if you want to ask me any questions or need my assistance with technology or anything in general, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you. That's what we came here for. We didn't come to this community to cause shit. We came here to help unity. And by these people acting this way, it's totally black and white gaslighting compared to what reality is. But God bless, and thank you so much, and keep up the good fight. Take care.